Warning: this podcast has adult content, foul language, alcohol use, and sexual content not suitable for children. This is the Tales of a Small Town Bartender podcast for entertainment purposes only. Never attempt reenactments. This is the Tales of a Small Town Bartender podcast. I'm Toni, and today we have Sean, our new co-host. Hello.
Hello to you. How are you?
Okay. Sean is coming to you from Las Vegas.
Hello, Las Vegas. Hello from Las Vegas, I should say.
Yeah, hello from Las Vegas. So I knew Sean when we were in middle school, right?
Was it junior high?
Middle school? South High?
Yeah, I was trying to think. Yep, South Junior High. That would have been right. I was trying to and couldn't think of much of a history between us, but that doesn't say a lot because my brain is modeled through years of alcohol abuse and no, just kidding. My brain is just, time has not been kind, but I couldn't think much of a history. I don't think we hung out in much of the same circles. Am I wrong there?
No, we didn't. But I remember sitting next to you in one of our, I don't even remember what class it was. And I remember that you used to have to go down to the nurse to take meds, and you told me that it was, you were like hypoglycemic or something. I don't remember.
Isn't that funny how time plays with everything? Yeah.
What I was like, glycemic, what is that? No. Oh God.
So here we are,
yes.
United again with this great podcast, Tales of a Small Town Bartender. Did I get that right for my first time?
You did.
Awesome. Here we are. Great. Where are we going?
Where are we going?
Where are we going with this crazy journey? This is a relaunch, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I listened to a few episodes from before. We got some ideas. I think you and we have some ideas on where how we can improve things. Some neat stuff to make it very listenable and very enjoyable for the end user. I think we were in agreement that we were going to expand the topics a little bit. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yes, we're going to tell other stories, not just bar stories. We're going to talk about anything in general, anything. So
that's great.
You might hear us complaining about a lot of stuff.
If there's one thing I'm good at is complaining about stuff.
So it's still going to be Tales of a Small Town Bartender because I am still a small town bartender. So it is what it is, right? And we're going to do segments.
Yeah, we'll have recurring segments, stuff that will drop throughout the podcast. Usually towards the end is where I like to stack those up. Like, and they won't be like every week. You'll have to tune in and see which ones make an appearance and which episodes. So segments like Here, which will be positive and uplifting news regarding the consumption of alcohol or laws. Or Have Another Drink, which would be a funny or unfortunate alcohol-related news story. Or I mean, you've all seen the fail videos. This is going to be the alcohol version of that. And then I have a couple I'm going to spring on you that I'm not going to warn you about.
You're not going to warn me about?
No, I'm not going to warn you about.
No. Okay.
We'll talk about those later on because I think you're going to love it.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. So something to tune in for. And then there's always Tales from a Bar Patron, right? I mean, we could do the Small Town Bartender, but really what it's about the listener and telling your stories or hearing your stories. And how do you do that? You email us at talesofasmalltownbartender@gmail.com with a subject.
Look at you, Ken.
Subject line stories. And we'll be in touch. If you have a really interesting or very funny story, remember, context is key. So if there's a lot of inside jokes and stuff, not everybody's going to understand that, but you'll know if you can read it through a third person, or if everybody's always laughed at that that story around a campfire or something like that. That's a good Tales from a Bar Patron story. That's what we're looking for. And of course, you being a bartender will have some. I've got a litany of drinking stories throughout my years in the military, and then throughout my years of life as well, just like anybody does. So try to tell the best I can. And so all I'm going to say is just give us a few shows and see if you like it. And if you don't, I want to thank you ahead of time for doing that. But I think you're going to find that this is going to be great.
Talesofasmalltownbartender.com.
Ooh.
I feel like my mic's falling off. Sorry. And my chair's noisy. I just noticed that. I don't know if you heard that. I leaned back in my chair and it was so loud.
These
I'm
are
sure
all
y'all heard that.
all the growing pains of a relaunch coming.
Oh my God! Right? All right. So it's been a minute. It's been since
About
November.
8 months.
Yeah, it's been since November.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff has happened at my bar, so I'm sure a lot of stuff has happened everywhere else. So we want to hear some stories, definitely.
So,
my son's also yelling in his bedroom. Did you hear that?
Is he gaming?
Yes, he is.
How do I know? That's not magic. Yeah, I just heard him just now.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Oh!
Yes, that was him. I warned him too. I knocked on his door at like 20 of and said, "I'm recording at 9. Be quiet."
So
that doesn't work.
What is something that you wish they would have told you before your first day as a bartender?
So the weird thing is I worked there for like a whole year before I ever even said I was a bartender. I kept saying, "I'm not a bartender. I'm just helping George out. George is the owner of the bar."
Gotcha. So by proxy then.
Yeah, he kind of just threw me in there. Like he threw me to the wolves one day on a Saturday on a day shift. And I guess probably not to believe anything you hear at the bar.
So the stories flow, huh?
Well, not really the stories. People talk about everybody. Like, they're always talking behind everybody's back about everything and don't believe any of it, Yeah. Because my first whole probably 2 months, I was like in awe, like, oh my God, really? Like really? And then I, come to find out that everybody was full of shit. So
it really is that small town kind of vibe you get.
Oh my God. I don't believe anything anybody says.
So at the bar that you work at, and we don't have to mention names or whatever, but at the bar that you work at, do you find you get more traffic, like direct neighborhood traffic, or do you get like the people? I'm speaking of direct neighborhood traffic, like people that walk to the bar, or people that are just a couple blocks away, or are people coming from out of town more frequently?
Well, we get both because we're in a touristy town because we have like Vanderbilt Mansion and the Roosevelt Estate and that type of stuff there. So we get both. We don't really get people that walk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's on a kind of main road, so people don't really walk, but we do get a lot of Ubers nowadays because people don't want to drive.
Boy, that's really changed the game up, hasn't it?
It sure has.
It's any more fights for the car keys at the end of the night still?
Speaking of, last week, someone that isn't one of our regulars was extremely drunk. And he was on the phone with his wife, and I said, "Is that your wife on the phone?" And he said, "Yes." And I wanted to talk to her because I wanted her to come pick him up. So, which she did. She did come pick him up, but I didn't get to talk to her. His keys were on the bar this whole time. His wife walks in, and he picks up his keys and goes with her. And then the next day, calls the bar asking where his keys are, and his wife came in yelling at the bartender, saying that somebody rifled through his car and that he had left his keys in his car and left the door open. I don't know why he would do that. I mean, I didn't see what he did with his keys when he left the bar. They were on the bar right in front of me when he walked out. As far as I know, he took the keys. So I don't know if he ever found them. I don't know. She called the bar screaming at the bartender the next day who wasn't even there. People are crazy.
So, of course, I'm not going to believe the bartender who has been serving the drinks and hasn't been imbibing instead of the guy who's blowing the .30 right about now.
Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah, the bartender called me and asked me where the keys were. I was like, he took the keys with him. Listen, I wasn't drinking. I didn't have one drink, you know?
That reminds me, what do they call that? The circle? No, Karpman's triangle. That's what that reminds me of. Is if you have two people that are fighting and you try to interject in the middle of it, all of a sudden you become the victim because they both gang up on you. That reminds me of that situation so much.
Yeah.
The bartender becomes the person that's got to defend themselves. Like, wait, hey, buddy, I'm just trying to get you home safe. Leave me alone, right?
Exactly.
So this all started somewhere, and like I was explaining, like you and I don't have a lot of history, despite the fact that we did go to school together for quite a number of years. So when you were a teenager, now back in the 80s, alcohol, and the same with me, alcohol was a big kind of, well, I mean, with teenagers in general, is trying to get drunk on a Saturday night. Now, what was your go-to? How would you get your alcohol back in the day?
Well, we had some older friends that would buy us some Bartles and James.
that was the original OG right there, man. I just double negative, but OG, yeah. Bartles and James was the OG before. Oh God, what are they drinking now?
White Claw.
Yeah, White Claw. Bartles and James, OG White Claw, right? So you get Bartles and James. Who'd you get them from?
We had older friends that would buy them, you know, because you know, at first the drinking age when we were 16, the drinking age was only 18, you know, and then it went up. Like when we turned 17, the drinking age went up to 19, and then when we turned 18, the drinking age went up to 21.
Did you guys have a hangout spot or somewhere like the roller rink or I know, let's see, like Section O in the cemetery of all places.
Oh, you hung out in a cemetery?
Oh yeah, Section O was huge back in the day.
Oh man, I never hung out in a cemetery. That would be freaking awesome. We hung out at this clearing in the woods in the back of my neighborhood that had a big rock, and we made like a little fire pit there.
Oh, cool.
So we always hung out there in the woods.
Neat. There was also a large abandoned mansion down off of Route 9W that's since been raised, and it was always a great spot to go because it was completely dark, no electricity whatsoever, and
wow.
Yeah, you could just take whatever you want. It's just this huge Vanderbilt style mansion, but it hadn't seen any updates in probably 50 years. Just gorgeous. I still have pictures of it. It's just it's such an amazing building. Such a shame what happened to it, but a story for another time. But it was one of those great locations that teens always seem to find. They always find a way to get the thing they're not supposed to have, and they always find a place to drink it. Behind New Windsor School was another one. They had so many hidden little stairwells in that school. It was ridiculous. You could just take a 12-pack of beer and disappear next to the doors on the back of the school and just there and drink them to your heart's content, and never be bothered by anybody. I mean, once again, small town, right?
Yeah, we brought many bottles of liquor back to the woods too. That was pretty bad. Drinking it straight out of the bottle because we didn't know you had to mix the stuff, you know?
Yeah, there weren't directions with these things, were there, nowadays?
I will tell you, I will never, ever, ever drink Seagram 7 again because of that.
Yeah, Canadian whiskey in general, too sweet.
Oh, yeah, that was not a good choice.
So that's one of the liquors you can't drink anymore.
Yes, I can't drink that anymore.
Story time.
Story time?
Story time.
So me and my friend, we brought about a whole bottle back in the woods and drank it out of the bottle. I think we skipped school that day. I'm pretty sure we skipped school that day.
It was a day
So,
back.
or back there all day drinking it. And friends of ours come back late, because, it was the hangout spot. After school, friends come and show up, and we are so drunk. So drunk. They literally had to get us back home.
Oh, no.
We couldn't just get back home. So I ended up getting sick. I'm sure she did too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got in a lot of trouble that day.
Did your parents find out and then lay this?
Yeah.
Honey, you're never doing that again, young lady, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You got any more liquors that really get to you?
Not really. It's just that one. I don't even like making a drink with it. I don't like smelling it.
Yeah.
Like if somebody orders it at the bar, I'm like, ugh.
Give me a 7-7. Well, I'll be in hell for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah. I have one lady that drinks that at the bar. She drinks the 7-7, and every time she comes in, I'm like, oh, I gotta make one of those.
Great. Can I put my old COVID mask on while I do this? Right?
Yeah, that was fun wearing those at work.
Oh gosh, don't even. I'm sorry I even brought it up. But the only liquor that really got me was the Johnny Walker Red Label. And
oh yeah,
yeah. Can't still to this day have a hard time with scotches in general, which is a darn shame because scotches are pretty good.
Yeah.
And here I am, over 50 years old, so it's been 3.5 decades. And I'm still, every time I smell it, brings me right back to that moment. And
yeah,
that moment was in my friends. I was supposed to go with the Cub Scouts and go camping, and that's what I told my mom. And
wait,
then,
how old were you? Cub Scouts? How old were you?
Boy Scouts, whatever. Yeah, Boy Scouts.
Oh, Boy Scouts. Okay, I was gonna say Cub Scouts is like little boys.
Yeah, I was a bad man. No, Boy Scouts. And I snuck a bottle of Red Label out of my mother's liquor cabinet, which had a solid front door, so you couldn't see what was in there or what got taken out, right? So I snuck a bottle of Red Label out, went to my friend's house. We never went to the Boy Scout camp out thing, and instead stayed in his room and drank almost the entire bottle between the two of us, threw up not only in his toilet, but all over his bathroom.
Oh my God.
His dad came downstairs, guys have some rough dinner there or something? Yeah, we sure did. He knew exactly what had happened. He knew exactly, but he was cool about it. You know who wasn't cool about it? Waking up with a throbbing knife pick hangover with my mom standing over me at 7:00 in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah. You know why? Because when I closed the door on that cabinet, the little latch to close it didn't latch all the way. And she looked over and noticed that and then poked her head in there and it's like, missing a bottle. I bet I know where this went. Yeah. So that.
But when you look back at it, if we didn't get sick, if we didn't throw that up, we probably would have had alcohol poisoning.
That's true. That is very, very true, and a very good point. Yeah, that's your body's natural reaction for getting rid of that stuff, man. That's your body saying, "Okay, reverse gears. You have done way too much. Let's get rid of this crap." Yeah.
Yep.
You're done. So yeah, good times. That's about it for me, though. It's just that the scotch brings me right back to that moment every single time. So that's good. We got at least the Canadian whiskey and scotch market cornered. So
what do you like to drink nowadays?
A bourbon every now and then, but I've really kind of waved off on the whole thing. I've been kind of into like this clear head thing, but I really like a good bourbon, though. A good bourbon. Like a good bourbon. So okay. I like to have. What about you?
I honestly, being a bartender now, I honestly don't drink a lot.
Isn't that something, right? That's always the case, right?
It's weird. I drank a lot more before I attended bar, because after I started attending bar, I was like, oh wow, you see people drunk and you're like, oh, I don't want to act like that,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do occasionally. Like, I had the last thing I drank was those Arizona hard green teas,
Mm-hmm.
and those were really, really good. And I did have too many of them. I didn't get sick or anything. I didn't even have a hangover, but they're really good. And Crown Apple's pretty good too. I like that.
Arizona green tea. They got hard Mountain Dew. I know that. And I know that
Yeah,
Four Loco thing came and went years ago. That
they
was
have hard Sunny D now.
no.
Yes, they do.
Gosh, here I am at
It's a seltzer though. It's
oh,
it's
is it?
not like it's not like the juice Sunny D. It's a seltzer, but it tastes like Sunny D.
Gosh, I'm picturing myself at breakfast with one of those. Give me the hard Sunny D there, waiter, with the eggs and bacon. Yeah. But no, it's not always the case that the bartenders are that bartenders typically lay off the alcohol. I've seen both cases.
Yeah.
Both extremes, really. Excuse me. But all right, so we talked about don't believe everything that you hear in the bartender in,
Oh yeah.
you're in the bar, right? Because you really do have that small town vibe where everybody's telling stories about everybody else, things like that, right?
Oh, it's amazing. It really is.
Can you think of an outstanding something that really goes high and above the fray with stories of with that example?
I heard a rumor that I was having an affair with one of the bar patrons.
Oh gosh, that's what don't have enough time on their hands, right?
I'm like, what? I was like, you're kidding, right? Because somebody had told me that they heard that, and I was like, you're kidding me. Like, who said that? And she's like, oh, I can't tell you who said that. Oh my god, this is just ridiculous.
It's like a bunch. It's like being back in high school.
It's worse.
What else didn't they tell you in bartender training? So yeah, don't believe anything that you hear in the bar, which I could totally see. I could see that.
And only half of what you see, because you can see it with your own eyes.
Yeah. I have some very good stories regarding that stuff.
You have good stories?
Oh yeah, oh for sure, about not believing what you see. So I'll give you one. So there was a bar that was down the street from. I'm actually just moved to Vegas here less than a year ago for work, and right before I moved, there was this bar that was right down the street from me, and it was one of those bars where you would say it was a dive. It was 100% a dive. It was basically a trailer with a dirt parking lot, and whose neighbors called
a trailer. Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was a dive. But the greatest thing about this place was there was two bartenders there who poured the greatest drinks that I've ever had and that I ever will. I mean, for there it was Jack and Coke, and it was Jack Daniels, and you wave the Coke over for good luck, and here you go, good luck getting it. Right? Those kind of drinks.
So you got a Jack on the rocks, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. A big ass Jack on the rocks. So that was the reason why we went there. Me and a few coworkers, as well as my brother-in-law. And one of the side effects of going to this bar is that you could never leave without a story. There was all kinds of things that happened at this place. Some funny, some unfortunate, and some you had to go to court for. But there was always something happening at this bar. So you go.
That sounds like where I work.
You get strong drinks. So this may be linked indirectly between where you live and where I used to live.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can never leave without a story. And one of the funniest ones, and this is a pretty quick story, but I remember coming in, and it was the summertime, and as I was walking in, my brother-in-law and I, we were just walking in. We're gonna have a couple drinks and go home. It was like a Saturday afternoon, and there was a Jeep that was had his top down and everything, just sitting there. As I walked in, we took note of that and walked in, had a couple of drinks, and struck up a conversation with a guy sitting next to me. And I don't remember what the conversation was about. It was nothing that was uh, real important or anything. But all of a sudden, this guy comes into the parking lot from the parking lot through the same door that we came in, walks the length of the bar, and we notice he has something in his hands. And we look over at him, and the guy is completely plastered. So, of course, that speaks, right? He,
Uh-huh.
he walks up to the guy, and he hands him what turns out to be a car radio. And he gives it to him, and he says, I think you should probably have this. And he looks at it and he goes, holy shit, this is my car radio. The, the guy had stolen his car radio and then brought it inside and handed it to the guy he took it from.
Oh, I don't even know what to say.
I am not kidding. This is the kind of bar this was.
Okay.
So yeah, really interesting people, really interesting characters, and that was essentially what turned out to be the case of the stolen car radio. But I don't even know if you could call it stolen. It's right there.
He borrowed it. He just borrowed it.
So that was one of the stories from that place, and there's going to be plenty over the next few weeks about what happened at that place. But there's one thing that you said, and I don't remember if you recall this or not, but you said that you and I would get to the pizza talk.
Yes.
Okay. So I need to preface this.
Okay.
So growing up where I grew up, where we grew up, we had, I would say, good pizza. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Probably some of the best pizza that's around. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So my place used to be, because of my location, was ABC Pizza, which was George was the guy, the name that ran it, and still runs it to this day. By the way.
Oh, does he?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So George ran it, and it was over by the Squire Cinemas back in the day. And what a good afternoon was to go to George's, get a small or medium pepperoni pie, a yoo-hoo, and then go see a movie. And I did that. I can't even tell you how many times, right? So
Right.
this is a pizza that you grow up with, and then you find out when you get out into the world, like, wow, was I lucky? I had New York pizza growing up, and it really was good, and it's everything that people said it was, and the pizza in New York is fabulous. So
It absolutely is.
right. So my travels take me to first Yuma, Arizona, and Yuma, Arizona does have some New Yorkers in it, and one of them, I think his name was Rocco, opened up a New York basic New York style pizzeria, and I went there, and it was good enough. Wasn't great, but it was good. It was good enough for me to go back a second time. And just to give you an idea, as I'm sitting there eating the pie, and somebody walks up to me and says, "Where in New York are you from?" As I'm sitting there in a restaurant, I had never met the guy, and I'm like, "How do you know that? Because that's weird." And he says, "Because you fold your pizza when you eat it."
Oh, they don't do that down there, huh?
That's not a thing everywhere. I didn't learn that. That
Oh,
was right there. We fold our slices, right?
yeah.
I always have. Even he has these weird little square slices. He still fold it. But yeah, that's the thing. So the guy outed me from New York all the way across the United States in Yuma, Arizona. So then I moved back to what's called the Quad Cities. So the Quad Cities is 4 cities that sit on each side of the Mississippi River between Iowa and Illinois. And like New York, like Chicago, like Detroit, Quad Cities has their own quote unquote style of pizza.
And what is that?
Yeah. Here's the fun part. So when people, I will tell you, give me 1 second. So when I show up there, they know I'm from New York. So they say, oh my God, you're from New York. You have got to have Quad City style pizza. It's amazing. It's the best there is. You're going to love it. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Hold on. And because you know where I'm from, and I don't know if you've been there and actually eaten New York pizza to know the difference, but you're making some tall claims, right? So I go and I get the first of all, the order of ingredients is completely jacked up. So you have, yeah, I've complained about this so much that my friends literally trigger me to get me to go on these rants. Not kidding. I mean, you saw the Facebook post, right? This is how we're talking about this. But start with the crust, then they put a little bit of sauce down, and then they put the toppings on the bottom. So they're bottomings essentially. So sausage, little.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, you're right. Crappy little crumbly sausages, pepperoni, and then the cheese goes on top, and then it goes in the oven. So can you, let's see, I'm going to really push your pizza IQ right now. Can you figure out what's wrong with the construction of that pizza knowing nothing about it?
So if you're going to make like 3 pies at the same time, how are you going to know which one is which?
That's one. Very good. Ding, 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 ding.
And personally, when I get a pepperoni pizza, I like my pepperoni to be a little browned. It's not going to be browned underneath
Ding,
the
ding, ding, ding.
cheese.
That's 2.
It's just weird.
Number 3, and here's another one, is that what happens is the bottomings act like a layer of insulation between the crust and the cheese. So the cheese never solidifies with the crust. So the first bite you take, the whole top comes right off in your chin.
Yeah, I can see that. Yep. With all the bottomings.
Yeah. It's all isolated. So I'm like, what is this? This is crap. What is this? And this is not good. And they argue with me. It's like, yes, it's great. It's like, no, you can't argue with somebody that something is good just solely based off of that's the only thing you've had in your life.
Yeah, no, that's not. No.
You have no frame of reference.
I've never been there. The farthest I've been is Texas, and I've had pizza in Texas, and I wouldn't order pizza in Texas again.
No. But I'll tell you what is good in Texas is Mexican food.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, it's amazing. And it's amazing here in Las Vegas as well. And it's also amazing in Nevada. You know where it's not amazing? New York.
In New York.
Yeah. I'm not ordering tacos in New York. I'm ordering pizza. I'm not ordering. Go ahead.
Right. When was the last time you were in New York?
Oh, gosh. 2018?
2018?
Yeah, 2018.
There are a lot of Mexican restaurants now. A lot.
Know. My cousin still lives there, and I make fun of him when he eats at those places. I'm like, what are you doing? Your family? But I'm just.
We have at least one good one that I know of here. One really good one. But, out of the 25,
Yeah, and also you got to be careful because of the reference thing. Is because if you eat 5 buckets of crap, and then you have 1 bucket that's not crap, but it's exactly
Edible.
And yeah, all of a sudden that one bucket's gonna be amazing, right? Oh man, this one bucket is outstanding. I can't wait to have more of that one bucket. But these other
No, this restaurant that I was referencing is where all the Mexican people go to eat because they say it's the best place. So
that is a good
I trust them.
is a good point, and that was also the case in the Quad City. There was a lot of Mexican restaurants um, where people were like, "Oh gosh, here it's so good," and then you go there and it's like, no. After you come from Arizona and after you come here, it just doesn't compare. It doesn't pale up. There's no comparison. I'm not here to eat tacos for nostalgia. I'm here to eat tacos for flavor and for taste,
Yes.
and for quality, and the same thing goes for pizza. One of my favorites was uh, a touring comedian, and he got up on stage in the Quad Cities and he looked at the crowd and he says, I was in town last night, didn't have anything to do, so I asked people, I was like, where do I go to get the best pizza in town? And they gave me directions, and I'm driving around, and then I pull into a fucking gas station. There's a gas station there that has a few stores, kind of like Stewart back home. It's called Casey's. Casey's has pizza, and everybody loves that pizza. And it's I mean, just get a pizza and call it. Can I? Because I'd like to. Because I'm not eating pizza for nostalgia. I'm eating pizza because I want a good pie. I want a good experience. So anyway, the pizza ran. It's like you can't just go anywhere. I mean, in Vegas, there's a couple places that are good, but I mean, it's not. I mean, will it ever be?
And different people have different tastes also, because even here, I've had people ranting about this Four Brothers pizza here. And I moved right down the road from it, and I had never tried it before. And I said, oh, we're going to get Four Brothers pizza. It was like 2 weeks after I moved here. And I ordered it, went and picked it up, brought it home. And it was the worst pizza I think I've ever had in my entire life. It tasted like a frozen pizza. Like they just threw a frozen pizza in the oven.
Right.
And people rave about it. I don't get it. They're Greek. It's Greek pizza. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's what Greek pizza is or if it's just their pizza. I thought it was terrible. I'll never order it again.
I don't think it's Greek pizza because George from ABC is Greek, and I've had other pies, but I think some of it has to do with like ingredients and stuff. Because there's people in Florida, guys in Florida, that swear up and down by their pie. They have shipped in from New York, especially for them.
Yeah.
That pizza, flour and water, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Which is great. I love that. I love the dedication to what they're doing. So, and please keep doing that. So, yeah. So when you come out to Vegas, and we'll direct you to the good pizza and some great Mexican food, great tacos, outstanding. It's like nothing we've ever had before, and you can add that onto your.
Yeah, the best pizza around here, the owners are Albanian.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What was I going to say? Oh, you know what? To prove your point, there are 2 places in the Quad Cities that have a pie that if you were to put them next to each other, there's both Quad City style pizza. Oh, I didn't even tell you part of this pizza. Jeez, criminy. Wouldn't be able to tell them apart. But there are turf wars between these 2 pizzerias, Harris's and Uncle Bill's. There's Team Uncle Bill's and people say Uncle Bill's was original, and Harris ripped him off. Harris was the original. Harris respected it. Uncle Bill's is just it's ridiculous. They're both shit. That's the funny part. They're both dog shit. But anyway.
Well, they stole each other's recipes.
Sure, have fun making my shit. So the worst part about this pie, and I can't believe I left this out, was the fact that is how they cut it. right? If you cut a pie normal, you run the cutter across it, you turn it 20 degrees, you run it again, you keep turning it 45 degrees until you got 8 slices in a round pie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. Can't have that.
No.
Oh, no, 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 no. So what we're going to do in the Quad Cities is we're going to run the pizza cutter down the middle and then slices across, like 4 slices across the pie in one direction only. That's it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
So like strips?
Yes.
Oh.
So
how do you hold that?
right. You need 6 fingers, your friend's hand, and a loaf.
That seems a little stupid.
This culminates into a pizza eating experience of cheese that won't stay on it, of sausage that's falling everywhere because it hasn't been melted into the crust. So, I mean, what's the like here? What's the like? And why are you defending? Okay, I got work done.
You and your pizza rant.
Yeah, it kind of became a thing around work. Actually, I have a lot of old friends from back there who be like, all you got to do is mention Quad City Pizza around Sean and watch him as he goes off. And I mean, they're not wrong. That's exactly what happens. But I mean,
Yeah.
witnessed it just now, so there you go. But yeah, the pizza ramp. Also,
Well, I heard your other pizza rant, and then I saw the post on Facebook. That's why I had commented on that.
oh,
But
yeah.
have you found a good pizza place where you are now?
There's a couple that I'm arguing over right now.
Arguing?
Yeah, with myself.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
okay.
They both have New York style. They both have foldable slices. The toppings actually go on the top. I mean, mind blown, right? So
I don't understand how when they take them out of the oven, how they know which one is which.
yeah. The only one that I could tell for sure is a sausage because their cheese
Little bumps.
is bumpy. Yeah, cheese is
Yeah.
bumpy. They have like little rabbit poop sausage too, which is super weird. It's so hard. Yeah, it's so hard to get used to eating. But anyway, yeah, that's the basically that's the pizza rant.
So I do have a stuff people say at the bar to talk about. It's just a little short. It's just a little 2-sentence thing.
Do it.
So stuff people say at the bar. She looks like your type. The other person says she does. She's psycho. I hear that all the time.
Man, if people only knew how true that was.
Some people just attract to psycho. They're like,
right.
It's like a moth to a flame,
Yeah, absolutely. There's an old saying is like, hey, don't stick your dingle dong in crazy, right? So yeah. And it's weird if you know that she looks like your type and she looks crazy, she looks insane. Are you still going after it and knowing that? Then are you?
They do.
Yeah. Then you
they do.
What's coming to you, right?
Yes. Listen, I've warned people. I have warned guys.
You pretty much have it coming to you. I mean, at this point, what did you expect?
And then I say, I told you. I tried to warn you. It never works. I give up. I don't warn people anymore.
I love that one. I love that quote because it doesn't really need context. It's just like it's the truth about sitting around a bar. It
is.
It's great. So I have the segment here. Once again, it's a new segment. Here. Positive, uplifting, all news because we need all more of that. So everybody likes the sweet drinks, right? How many sweet drinks do you make in a night compared to everything else?
It's not really that. It's not as many as you would think.
No.
I have more guys at the bar than girls. So.
Okay, so you get a lot of beer stuff and
beers and shots,
Jackson beams and those
Yeah.
stuff, right? So here is it's in an article talking about the up and coming savory cocktail trend. So
Savory.
cold pizza in a glass, could it be a thing? Yes, it absolutely can be a thing. How I feel about that after just going over the pizza rant, I'm kind of torn inside. They refer to
Yeah.
cocktails as like hard soups. So
Oh.
yeah, right. I think that tells you everything you need to know.
Oh my God.
This is either for you or it's not for you.
It's not for me.
Yeah, I don't think I
Especially
would.
the pizza. Yeah, no.
Yeah, the pizza is a hard no. But there are other ones like from like Waldorf salad and roast chicken in a glass.
What?
They use fruit juices, simple syrups. They have their flavors offset by alcohol. And you cut out whiskey or vodka. The sweetness stands out more typically, but with this, it's like they started at the Bloody Mary and then went down to balsamic vinegar and black pepper and cherry tomatoes. And let's see, there's more here.
So it's a Bloody Mary base, like you start with a Bloody Mary in a glass.
Yeah. And
Is
then,
that what you're saying? Okay, so I've seen these ones where they stick all the stuff on it. Like
right,
I've seen them stick a grilled cheese sandwich on it and a chicken wing and all that stuff. Yeah.
So here's some drinks that use beef or different types of mushrooms. Mexican alcohols like mezcal. I should be way better prepared for this. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
The drinks inspired by Waldorf salad and Japanese cold noodles. In the middle section, there's a cocktail called the cold pizza, which has Parmesan cheese in it. Taco Chang double chicken called a reverse pairing.
Reverse pairing.
Country ham gravy poured on top.
Oh my God.
So, but instead of gravy, it's a mix of Irish whiskey, coffee, butter, and mushroom.
Huh.
So
yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's for me.
See, that one wouldn't be bad. The Irish whiskey, coffee, butter, and mushroom wouldn't be bad.
But can you see going to a bar and ordering that? I mean,
no. Why when there's other stuff? So, all right, that's a great way to put it. So, I have a friend who likes bone marrow. He's like, "Oh, this stuff is delicious. You should eat bone marrow." I'm like, "Why am I eating bone marrow when there's 9,000 other parts of the cow that are delicious?"
Yeah, right.
I don't have to choke this down.
I'll eat the T-bone instead.
Yeah, thank you. Give me the New York strip.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a crappy here, but another one. One to
I didn't know they were doing all that stuff with. Oh, that's just
that's
crazy.
Somebody
was bored. That's what that was.
All right. So I'm going to go into the home stretch here, and I'm going to give you one of your. The other one I talked about a little bit, but I'm going to give you the main reoccurring segment, and I think this is going to be an every week one because I love this so much. And it's called, and this you're a great person to bounce this off of because you're very experienced. All right, so it's called Drunk or a Kid.
Oh.
So users have stories, and then you have to decide based off of what was shared, were they drunk or were they a kid when this happens?
Oh, so you guys are going to send us stories. You hear this?
You can do this. So drunk or a kid. Tales of a Small Town Bartender at gmail.com. Send us drunk or a kids, and then you'll get the Gmail, and then you can do them to me back based off of our user submissions. So drunk or
awesome.
Yeah. So I got one for you this week.
Okay.
All right. So here's a story. Drunk or a kid. Accidentally maced myself and a few friends because I mistook the can for air freshener and sprayed the entire room. Drunk or a kid.
I'm going to say drunk.
I was a kid.
Oh.
11 years old, trying to cover up cigarette smoking with some pals.
Oh, wow.
Air
I
freshener.
wouldn't think a kid would want to spray air freshener, but yeah, I guess you would if you were smoking.
He was old enough. Yeah, they're like 11. I think he said, yeah, 11 years old. Thought he got air freshener and then maced the entire room, him and all his friends.
Oh, wow. Wow. Imagine that.
So, and then, so you have all, okay, yeah, you have all that stuff in the trailer and the closer, right? This is our first one,
Yes.
folks. Growing pains. We'll get there. This will be professional. Episode 3. So, yeah, do you have anything else to add before we go into closing here?
Well, seeing that we are recording this around the 4th of July, I just wanted to say this. It's funny how red, white, and blue represent freedom until they're flashing behind you.
Oh, gosh. It took me like 15 milliseconds, and I was like, oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. That was our 4th of July. A little 4th of July piece.
And I'm going to say goodbye with this. I want to thank everybody for listening. Really appreciate you tuning into the first show. Obviously, a work in progress, and appreciate your patience. And we'll get through the growing pains and make this a really fun place to stop, a really fun break in your day. That's the goal. And I'm sure we'll get there. So, and I'm going to say in closing, famous quote from George Carlin. This goes back to George Carlin, rest his soul, Rip George.
He was great.
He was the one responsible to start this quote: 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, floor.
I've heard that before.
Thank you very much for tuning in.
And we'll be chatting at you next time.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
You can contact us in many ways. Email at talesofasmalltownbartender@gmail.com. Our website at www.talesofasmalltownbartender.com. Facebook, facebook.com/talesofasmalltownbartender. Instagram, Tales of a Small Town Bartender. TikTok, Tales of a Bartender. Twitter, at bartender_tales, and on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Tales of a Small Town Bartender.